Hey guys, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And I hope you enjoyed this interview. Hello, Olaolu, and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Now, let's get started. We're talking about the state of the Naira. Olaolu, I said something earlier. I don't know if it's a proverb or a saying though, but let me say it again. If any belly, that's in Igbo, so that is what is crying is still crying, as it were. We've seen that the Naira is softening a bit. What do you think that this movement is all about?
Okay, so firstly, we need to give a big accolade to the CBN administration. They've been able to restore confidence to the market. And this started since last year when they started instilling confidence into the market from a communication perspective. Because if you look at historically, one of the things that kind of less prevalent with the Nigerian CBN governor or the Nigerian CBN administration largely as the lack of information, lack of adequate communication to the market. We've seen our current CBN governor improving on that material. Secondly, is taking the right step to track back on non-traditional monetary policy methods to traditional monetary policy methods. That has strengthened foreign investors' confidence, that has brought excitement into the market. And thirdly, is aggressively going against inflation. Inflation is at 28-year high. This year alone, we've seen the CBN governor or the CBN increase the monetary policy rate by about 600 basis points. So cumulatively, that has aided foreign inflows into the economy. So the total inflows that we've gotten from foreign investors since the start of the year is close to $3 billion. And when you compare it with the house, actually on a net positive inflows at the moment. Aside from that, the CBN has also aided liquidity in the market by supplying to the BDCs. For a while now, the BDCs were out of the supply market. But at the moment, the CBN has resumed supplying to the BDCs. The cumulative impact of all this strengthened the Naira and sent strong signals to the market.
Olalo, you didn't seem to answer my question. I don't know if you've also seen the movement because last week we also saw that the Naira lost some kind of weight. What do you
Mhm.
think about that movement? I'm
Okay, so
hoping
it's
I'm hoping that it's not going to continue because Cardoso did give us, um, that confidence in Washington over the last few days.
yes. So we need to put a bit of perspective in place. And the first is the kind of exchange rate system that we run in Nigeria today is more of a managed float. It's more of a flexible. I think the Naira is a bit flexed, not entirely flexed, managed float basically. And it's normal for you to see fluctuations in the market, which is largely determined by the forces of demand and supply, right? So those fluctuations that we saw last week, I think it's a combination of two things. Number one is there's a global factor to it. At the moment, at the global space, because of the tension in the Middle East, we saw some foreign investors becoming a bit skeptical. Some foreign investors are exiting emerging markets, frontier markets, as well as Nigeria, right, to see levels like gold. Gold is trading at the highest level this year, and also dollars, right, because they are safe levels. Aside from that, the news from Bloomberg about the material dip in the FX reserve, also kind of weaken sentiment in the market. But to kind of dispel some of these concerns, right? I think we need to look at on the brighter side what the CBN is doing, and the fact that the dip in the reserve that we saw of about $1.8 billion in the last few weeks is not anything special, right? We've seen the reserve, the CBN at a point uh, was supplying to the market about $3 billion pre-COVID level. So seeing $1.8 billion leave your reserve is not anything special. So this movement that we saw is just normal. It's fluctuation, demand and supply. It will stabilize again.
For some people, they are of the view that they would like to see a Naira that is less than 1,000 Naira. Do you think that we will get there with the bouquet of reforms that we've seen so far from the central bank?
I think we looking at the best target for the Naira, we can pick different sentiment from people. Some people want it higher, some want it lower. I think we should just
Who
focus
wants it
on
higher?
what
Olaolu, I hope you are not. Definitely, I don't want it higher. I don't want it lower. I don't want a falling naira. I want a strengthening naira. I want to see a naira
Naira.
that is even less than 1,000. In fact, my position to the governor this morning is even take us back to where you left, where you picked us up from, as it were, from about 7 something at the beginning of this
So,
year. Yes, exactly. You know.
yes. So I think that it will be better to focus on what currency valuation are saying, right? And just to break it down, currency valuations are just what we use to check what is the best or the fair value of the naira. If you run different methods of currency valuation, which is power parity, interest rate parity, real effective exchange rates, right? The expectation is that the naira should settle at around 1,000, 1,000 to 1,000 basically, right? And judging from the disposition of the CBN seems to be comfortable around that region, of 1,000 to 1,000.
They shouldn't be comfortable. They shouldn't even just be comfortable. Cardoso and the DGs, if they are listening or perhaps they are on transit, please don't be comfortable. Try as much as possible to bring it down, because even at this rate now, prices of food, or yes, prices of food and commodities are even a bit sticky. They are not coming down as expected. Just a few.
Exactly.
The law of gravity does not work here in this country, especially when it comes to economics or when it comes to prices in the country. So,
So
yeah, you want to comment on that?
le- let me just quickly comment on why we are yet to see prices, the fall or the improvement in exchange rate impact prices. One, there's a human factor to it. People tend to um, they are not so quick to adjust their prices. That's the first thing. Secondly, there's still a lot of old stock in place, which are yet to be fully replaced. And thirdly, it will take a while for the benefits of the exchange rate to permeate into the economy. If we see this stability at 1,000 or 1,000, 1,001 for the next 4 to 6 months, you expect to begin to see the impact on price. For example, on some commodities in the market, that dropped materially like Indomie and the likes, we're already seeing retrace in this in price. So it will take a while before it permeates other prices, but it will certainly happen because if you run your statistical analysis, you discover that 25% of inflation in Nigeria is explained by movements in exchange rates, right? So over a while, over a time, you are certainly going to see the impact on prices.
Now, Laura, let's break down a few of these reforms that the central bank has put together. And if you listen to Olayemi Cardoso at the just concluded IMF World Bank meetings when he spoke with Abebe Selassie, who is the director of IMF African Department. In fact, that session was about 30 something minutes. And
Yes,
yes, when I saw that interview, um, did you watch it? Let me start from there. I hope you did.
yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, good. What were your takeaways from that? Before I even go to the question, what was your takeaway from that session?
Okay, so firstly, I think it's in line with what the CBN has been trying to do for a while, which is firstly improving communication in the markets. And you see that from the CBN governor, every opportunity to engage investors, both locally and foreign investors. It tries to provide context to what is troubling mind of investor. And for example, he spoke about the decline in the FX reserve. He had to make it a clear-cut expression that, hey, we are not trying to defend the naira at a certain amount. And what we are doing is basically just improving liquidity in the FX market. So clearly, is the CBN trying to communicate its thought again to the market and also strengthening our communication with the markets.
Yeah, he tried to communicate that because there were a lot of people in the room. In fact, something that he said, resonated with me, which was when Dr. Abebe asked him, of course, the sequencing of reforms, and he did say that he uses every opportunity he has to communicate to Nigerians. And at the Senate, that he tried to communicate because there was already a loss of confidence and there was a trust deficit already in the system, that he tried to tell Nigerians that he would clear the FX backlog, but that how he was going to do it, he didn't know. In fact, that I don't know if you heard that part towards the beginning. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, that was, he said, I had to leave, I had to tell the senators that I had to do this, but I did not even know how I was going to do it. And when I had heard that part from Olayemi Kadoso, I was like, okay, this is a bit different, because we do know that central bankers around the world should have all the answers. But there's also a
Yes, that's it.
human side. Yes, there's also a human side to this thing. It's also about leadership. There's also a human side that sometimes you may not have all the answers. Sometimes the answers may come as you go. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, they've successfully cleared the backlogs, at least the valid backlogs.
Uh,
Yes. So what do you think about that? I don't know if that also resonated with you, but that resonated with me, though, that a central banker is supposed to be all macho. We shouldn't see your weakness or vulnerability. But at that point, Olayemi Cardoso was so vulnerable and said, I didn't even know how to do this, guys. I didn't know how to do this.
Yes, so it's it's interesting, like you said,
Yeah.
right? The human part, the expectation is okay. We have Cardozo on board. We looked up on his profile. He's been around for a while. He's good. He's intelligent. Hey, we just want instant solution to all the FX challenges that we've been facing over the last, maybe 10 years or thereabouts. But it was clear that I'm committed to improving the situation around the Naira. I'm certainly going to do my best. He does not have all the answers, right? But one thing is sure, he's willing to go back to the drawing board. He's willing to put in more effort. And he's willing, he said something sometimes back that if they make a wrong policy and after making that wrong policy, it was discovered that it's wrong, they will be willing to come out, make the wrong right, right? When you're trying to do this tightening of a thing, at the point they adjusted the asymmetric corridor, which kind of foreign investors were not too comfortable with it. But we can see that subsequent meetings, they made an adjustment again, which is in line with focusing and targeting inflation. So it's clear. He doesn't have all the answers, but for him to remain committed to solving the issues around Naira, then we should do that. So absolutely, he's doing a good job.
Yeah. Anyway, let's take a look at the other reforms. And part of the reforms, of course, in this space to be able to stabilize the Naira is what the Apex Bank did with the BDC's recapitalization. For tier 1 of the BDCs to recapitalize with 2 billion Naira, then tier 2, 500 million Naira. I spoke with the president of the Bureau de Change operators some time ago. In fact, before the recapitalization deadline came, and I spoke with him when they scrapped over 4,000 plus,
Awesome.
yes,
Mhm.
BDCs, and also during the when the guidelines for the recapitalization came on board. Do you think that moving forward, as we go forward, like in the next 1 year or two, how do you think that this step will help stabilize the Naira, really? Perhaps in the next
Okay.
1 year or two, yes.
So the interesting thing is that the BDCs are the closest to consumers. When you can't get your dollars from the banks, or you just need to just get someone that is very close to you, to your business, to your house, the BDCs are the quickest and the fastest place where you can get dollars. Now, what the CBN has done is simply increasing oversight over BDCs, right? It's just like the banking sector. Now, BDCs, we have fewer numbers. There is increased requirements for you to get license. You need to be able to have a good minimum base that is required of you, which means that not just anybody can come and get BDC license. Because in the past, regulation was fluctuation over the period of change. You can just go in, get license, sell at what price that you want, and then sometimes they have the capacity to manipulate the market, right? But with this, there's greater oversight. You need to report all your FX transactions to the CBN. So which means that the CBN is monitoring them properly. So if there is a continued trend in this pattern of CBN oversight over the rate of change, similar to maybe what is happening in the banking sector or in the financial services space, right? What we'll see is the rate of change will be careful in terms of their action, what they do, and how they carry out their transaction, which could help reduce speculation on the naira, right? Because basically, the CBN governor explained sometimes back that a material part of the weaknesses that we've seen in the naira over the last years has been driven by speculators. So when you improve supply to the places and you put a regulation over them, it helps to curb, activities of speculators.
Olaolu, out of all the reforms that the Apex Bank has come up with to saving the Naira, which one do you think has had the most effect? Of course, like this one that I've talked about, the BDC's recapitalization requirements. There's also the directive on IMTOs that they can trade, sell their dollars at relative market prices, not within the band of 2.5% plus or minus that we had earlier. There are also some other reforms, 10,000 US dollars that was sold to the BDC just, I think, about 2 weeks back. Out of these reforms, which one do you think had the most effect?
So I think that the BDC was a very crucial one, basically, because if you recall, if you go back to maybe about 3 years ago, right, or even before then, we the economists we kept on clamoring that if we don't have adequate supply to the BDCs, we are likely to see a material improvement of the naira. So we like the fact that the BDC action was being done. Aside from that, I think that the fact that the CBN was willing to increase rates to tackle inflation, because when you are trying to increase rates to tackle inflation, it has a second order impact. And the second order impact is it increases the carry trade for Nigeria. So when you look at carry trade just tells you interest rate differential between Nigeria and a benchmark instruments in the US and spot exchange rate and expectation over the next 12 months. At the moment, Nigeria has one of the highest carry trade in Africa, and that has partly aided the influx of foreign investors that we've had. So I like the BDC moves. I like the policy communication, to strengthen communication basically with the markets. I like the fact that interest rate was being increased to enhance carry trade and also to tackle inflation.
Olaolu, have you seen consumer behavior changing in Nigeria? Consumer behavior in terms of FX. I'm not talking about in terms of prices. I'm not talking of inflation.
Right.
Yes. Have you
So,
seen our behavior change?
so the thing is this: if you do a simple survey, people want to make the fastest and the quickest money. We have some people that can be unpatriotic, who believe if I can buy the dollars now, and then I depreciate, I convert back and make more money. We still have that heavy or large chunk of people that have not changed their consumer behavior, in terms of disposition to FX. However, the reason why we have this behavioral pattern is because of historical trends. The fact that naira depreciate every year, okay, you can just profit from it. If we see a sustained period of FX stability or naira strengthening, what will happen is it will dissuade speculators and it will begin to change the mindset of the Nigerian consumers over time. But at the moment, uh, it's still um, it has not materially changed, right? We need to see a consistent period of stability in Naira. That will send signal into the market that hey, if you speculate, you are at a big loss.
Because you said two things there. Of course, a lot of people speculating. Some people actually bought the Naira, bought the dollar at like 1716. They were,
Exactly.
trying to see that, they were part of those saying, let the Naira will get to 2025 so that they will make a kill. Now the Naira is hovering around 1001, 12. And I wonder what those people will do. Then the other part which you also talked about is even the investment part of it. A lot of people want to make quick money. This is a country whereby majority of people do not understand financial literacy, and even a lot of people
Mhm.
want to make money in the MMM way, as it were.
Way.
I can see that my camera woman here is smiling because she was one of those that time. And I advised her not to. She lost her money. I won't call your name. Don't worry. So a lot of people, want to make money the fast way. But the question to you now is that when do we see a market-determined exchange rate? Or where we are right now, is it a market-determined exchange rate? We have the managed float. So when do you hope to see a market-determined exchange rate? Even though we're seeing that the band between the official at NAFEM and the parallel markets, it's, a bit narrower than what we used to see before. In fact, even it's cheaper at the parallel market than at the official window.
Official window.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we are gradually moving towards a market determined exchange rate. And there are a few reasons for that.
Okay,
One,
Olaolu,
if you look,
just hold on a bit. I'll come back to you. Let's quickly take a commercial break. We'll be right back. All right, Olaolu Boboye, lead economist and in fixed income strategist, Cardinal Stone Partners is still with me. Olaolu, please go ahead with your intervention.
yes, um, a market determined exchange rate is one where demand and supply of demand and supply basically determines what the exchange rate should be like, right? And like I was saying, Nigeria is taking the right step to get to a market determined exchange rate. Because if you look at the magnitude of CBN's intervention in the market at the moment, or let's say since the start of the year, is not very pronounced. The CBN, according to them, is they want to only come to the market to intervene when necessary or when it deems fit. So for us to be able to achieve a market that is fully market determined or determined by the force of demand and supply, I think one, we need, when we begin to see improved dollar earnings in the country, when crude oil production go back to maybe historical levels of close to 2 million barrels per day, where the government is able to get adequate dollar inflows from that leg. Secondly, where we begin to see genuine demand of dollars in the market, where we're not having speculators or people who just want to take advantage of the system for their benefits. So once we begin to see genuine demand on one leg and we begin to see improved supply on another front, then we should know that we are moving close to a floating exchange system where demand and supply determines them. And it's not impossible. I'll give you an example. In 2017, when Nigeria created the INA window, right, for a period of about 19 months, the CBN did not supply FX to the market at all because the demand, the domestic demand and other demands were met by investors who like the fact that there's a bit of transparency in the market. What led to that distortion from 2019 was because there was no sustained traction in what we see. So once we begin to see improved supply, like I said, improved production and genuine demand, we are close to a market determined exchange rate.
Olaolu, what would you have to say about the Naira's recovery linked to the high yields in the fixed income space?
Okay, so again, it's a combination of many factors. High yield could be part of it, but if you look at the total inflows that we've gotten from foreign investors year to date, like I said, is close to $3 billion, right? So the idea is fine, is to get investors to come in. But when you look at the fact that we do foreign investors are not even fully back in the economy because if you go back to 2019 levels when Nigeria used to have a lot of foreign investors, 2018, we have sometimes close to $10 billion of foreign inflows in the market, so which means we still have about 7 billion deficits to go. So clearly, the inflows from the foreign investors have been a major part of it, no doubt, major part of it.
So now let's dwell a bit in this fixed income market. What's your outlook moving forward? Because we've also seen rates high. A lot of people getting into that space now.
Okay, so let's look at the short end of the curve first, which is the NTPs. So, like you rightly put, rates are pretty much elevated at the moment, trading close to maybe an all-time high
Yeah.
or the highest level we've seen in so many years, right? Um, The expectation is that the short end of the curve, we might still see about 100 basis points increase, right, in yields. And this reason is not far-fetched. One, the CBN is still aggressive on inflation. CBN is still going all out to tackle inflation. Will not be shocked to see another 50 to 100 basis points increase in the MPR at the next month meeting in a bid to rein in the 28-year high inflation. Secondly, if you look at all the maturities that we have from April to the end of the year, is materially lower than what we had in the first quarter of the year. So, which means that that also sends a stronger view for a bit of higher yields. However, given the fact that yields are trending close to all-time high, it just makes sense for investors to be taking advantage of this higher yields. Another thing that can lead to maybe yields going higher is some foreign investors who have bought NTBs, but because of the geopolitical tensions, I will begin to see maybe some of them leaving to safe havens, right? In the case where geopolitical tensions escalate or worsen beyond this level. But so overall, I'm looking at 100 basis points maximum increase from current levels. For the bond market, trading around 20% levels, I think that yields at the bond market to be relatively sticky, right? One of the things that propped it up in the first half of the year was the magnitude of government borrowings. Government borrowings going forward are not expected to be as aggressive as what we saw in the first quarter of the year, which means that this gives us a case of a similar expectation for bond yield. So bond yields will most likely remain sticky at current levels, where we're likely to see another basis point increase, at the short end of the curve.
Finally, Olaolu, do you see an overheating of this market, the fixed income space actually? Do you see an overheating of it? Because, it's the authorities are mopping up a lot of Naira. Do you see the market overheating at some point?
It's Yeah, so really, I don't think that we're likely to see the market overheating at some point, right? Because this current elevated yields that we're having in the market and the market's been excited, they are not going to be there forever. It's certain. You might be shocked that once inflation starts coming down, CBN governor or the CBN administration will most likely not might begin to look at stabilizing it at current levels, and government will also look at maybe from next year bringing down interest rates to support the real economy once inflation begins to taper. So the possibility of having an overeating fixed income market, I don't think we'll have that.
So how long do you think that the rates will remain at current levels? Because
So
we're having a very sanguine market, as we have right
yes,
now. Yes.
so our expectation is that rates will stay elevated till the end of the year and
Okay.
for the first half of, but for the second half of next year, we're likely to begin to see a change in the body language of the government and the CBA.
Okay. So anything you want to do as an investor, look at it with your advice from now till till next year, early next year.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you very much, Olaolu, for speaking with me, and I wish you a great week.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
All right. I've been speaking with Olaolu Boboye, who is the lead economist and fixed income strategist at Cardinal Stone Partners. That's the show today. Thank you all for joining us. Please join us again tomorrow. I'll be here bright and early, God willing. Another guest, another topic within the economic, financial, and business space. So many things to talk about. Which one we go take? If you ask me now, who I go ask? But I will be bringing you all the details so that you can make informed decisions about your money and your finances. I am Nancy Naji. Be the best you can be and be the change you want to see. Bye now. Thank you for watching. In case this is your first time watching us, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, drop your comments as well as like, and most of all, share our content. Bye.